My mother called me around, I don't know, I think it was about 9:30, and she was frantic, telling me that something had happened to the World Trade Center, and that something was going on at the Pentagon, and she couldn't get a hold of my brother, who was living in D.C. at the time. And I was groggy, so I wasn't too concerned. But then my friend called me like 30 minutes later, completely bawling, telling me that planes had hit the World Trade Center. And I'm from New Jersey, so she was calling me from New Jersey. And her aunt worked at the World Trade Center. She was telling me stories about people jumping out of windows and stuff. And when she told me that, I jumped up out of my bed and I went into the living room and I turned on the TV just in time to see the first tower collapse. And I had never seen anything like that. And when I spoke to my father, who also lives in that area, he told me that the reason why we couldn't get a hold of my brother was because he was on the phone calling people because his best friend worked at Tower 2 on the 94th floor. And then it just became really real because we hadn't heard from him, and it just became more than a news story then. Like, these were people that I knew. I had known him most of my life. He was my brother's best friend. So, it just became scary. Well, I think for the last few years I had been living back home in the New York, New Jersey area, and no anniversary about it goes by without mention of it. I mean, it's on the news even when it's not September 11th back home. So, if they're talking about doing work at the site or whatever, and so while I was home, I kind of gotten used to it, and I know it's a little callous to say, but I had to sort of put it out of my mind, I think, when I was living back home, because it's just on there all the time, and if you're so open and so raw, you're just not gonna make it. But having spent this time away from it now for about a year, now that it's coming up again and it's the 10th anniversary, it just is becoming more emotional, because I've been thinking about my brother's friend Matt a lot, and what he would be doing with his life right now, and how he would be, and how it affected his family, and how it affected my brother. And he goes home every year they celebrate Matt Day. That's what they call it. They don't call it September 11th. It just makes you think about how our lives were before then, and how that feels so alien now, and thinking about our future, where we go from here, what lies in store for us because of this incident, how our lives have to change because of that. And it's still just unbelievable that something like that happened, or that it could happen, and living in that climate of fear. I mean, before September 11th, terrorism was something that happened in other countries on the news. It didn't really touch us, and it didn't really go deep. And now, it's ever present.